Hello and welcome to the Freeflight Rapid Entry Flight Logging System. This module has been developed because it has been recognised that not all gliding sites in the UK are capable of setting up for Wi-Fi operation. Either the topology is too complicated, or they are miles away from a 3G signal, or the internet is so poor that the communication is very bad. The rapid entry system allows clubs to continue to keep logs on paper sheets on the airfield, whilst at the same time allowing club officials and members to reap the full benefits and rewards of a fully automated online administration system. So without further ado, let's take a look at how it all hangs together. And so now you have a paper sheet in front of you, and the first thing we are going to do is move to the flight logging item on the menu bar and elect to create a flying sheet. At this point we will key in the information from the sheet regarding the weather, the wind directions, optionally who's on duty, who the instructors are, the launch marshals, the duty clerks, etc, etc. All of which is optional and you don't have to fill them in. It's just handy for later analysis, just one of the features of Freeflight. Then we need to save the record once we've created it, and then we go back to the top menu bar, again to the flight logging menu, and we then select to review the flying sheet. At that point we select the day for the sheet we've just created, and that will then appear on the screen, and from the list we simply select the date we wish to work with. People who are familiar with this screen will recognise that the Flights tab is the area where any flights that have been logged with the online process can normally be seen. As you can see at the moment, it's empty. What we're looking for now is the new tab on the right hand side, which is titled Rapid Entry. So we'll click on the tab and immediately you see yet another empty screen. Click anywhere in the white space to open up the first of the entry line items. This first flight we're simply going to enter the P1 membership number, and then we're going to enter the aircraft ident or part of it, and finally the launch time followed by the landing time. And when you completed the entry, simply click in the white space again. That will do two things. One, it will save the first record, and secondly, it will put another line item entry line in, so you can start adding the next flight. And we're just going to let this run now. We're going to make it a two-seater flight. So we need a P1, a P2, an aircraft, again the launch time and the landing time. And once we finish that, again we simply click in the white space to start creating a third record. And I should add at this point that there's no need to fill the date in. You'll have noticed that it fills itself in automatically when the line is completed. It gets a date from the current flying sheet that you're working on. So we're just going to enter a few more flights now, and a couple of other things to point out. If you have any trial lesson walk-ons, then it is important that these are entered into the system before you start completing the sheets. When you're entering a trial lesson, it is important, in fact it's essential, that you have a valid voucher number to enter into the line. The system will do some checking at the end, and if it doesn't recognise the voucher number, it's going to spit it out and ask you to find the correct number. In fact, we're going to do one now, so you'll be able to see what happens. The reason it's called a rapid entry system is that it's doing no pre-flight checking on this, so it's not going to check the currencies, it's not going to check the medical records or anything like that. The flight has already happened. Why would it? This is simply relying on the fact that the duty clerks have done their job at the launch point and everything is in order. So essentially a lot of the benefits of the online flight logging system are lost to you if you're doing manual paper entries. but it will at least allow you to reap the benefits of the administration system as a whole. So I'm going to stop whittering on now and allow you to just follow through on entering these flights, and I'll come back to you in just a second. Now, as you might expect, me being me, we've thrown a few gremlins into the works in these flights, so that will allow us to see what happens once the system has finished processing the flights for the day. And one thing to keep in mind, which is an absolute must, is that when you have completed the final entry on the sheet for the day, then you must click the update button to put the final record away. Otherwise, you will lose it. So now we simply go to the bottom of the sheet, look for the button that says Process Rapid Entries and click it. And the thing will whiz and whir away. We're doing all the checking on the flights now. If the process takes more than about 20 seconds, it will actually go to sleep and continue in the background to allow you to carry on working on other administrative tasks. But now we've finished, a little message has popped up and we can see that all of the flights have cleared apart from 2. Let's go and analyze these in more detail. So the first line says that the aircraft does not exist. Probably a spot of finger trouble. We've just keyed in the wrong code for an aircraft and we need to rectify that. The second one says that it's not a two-seater aircraft and yet there are 2 people in it. So we've obviously been unable to decipher properly the spidery writing on the paper sheet, and again we need to go and fix it. Now again, if you don't click the update button, then you will lose the entry that you just made. If you look closely at that top line, you'll see that this change didn't record, and that's because I forgot to press the update button after I'd made the change. So I just need to now go and do it again. It's not super critical, you won't lose anything, just a pain in the backside. So remember to click the update button after you'd made an editing change on an existing record. Click the button again, goes away, message pops up, the sheet is now cleared. We go to the flights tab and we find all of our flights that are entered as if they were entered at the launch point with the online system. All the fees are calculated, all the comments are in place, and you can now review that against the proper sheet, and if you need to make any final adjustments, then the ability to edit the records is there in exactly the same way as it would be there if you'd been reviewing an online sheet. So that's all there is to it. Easy peasy. Here's an edit coming up. I should mention that the flight numbering system has now changed, by the way. And the flight numbers now are a date, year, followed by the number of the flight in that year. And on the 1st of January next year, it would change to 2016. Couldn't be easier. All there is to it. Have fun. Call me if you have any problems.